3, 2, 1. Yeah.
What's going on, everyone? It's Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. This is our live DFS show. Live DFS show, that's what it is. For the Wells Fargo Championship. Craig, that was a great countdown. I don't know if anybody caught that or not, but what's going on, brother?
I feel like I'm supposed to, what you're supposed to do the last 3, silent, 5, 4.
I thought I was in liftoff. I thought I was in rocket ship. That's just like my lineup's going straight to the moon.
I'm actually super excited this week. Awesome field. I think it's good course. I'm excited to see. I think we're going to have a little bit of, some similar opinions today, some divergent opinions today. So I think it's going to be exciting to work through. Nice to see.
Yeah. So
sorry, go ahead.
I'll kind of tease our conversation. I called you kind of around noonish today, or I was just finishing building. You're kind of starting building. I said, I think it's super easy. Like I feel pretty confident with the direction I'm going. You didn't seem that way, but it seems like in the last 5-6 hours or so, you got to figure it out.
Yeah. What's going on, Steve, Dave, Ray, Big R, Lindo? Snow melted up there yet, Adam? I got beautiful summer weather, 20 degrees Celsius.
I got a round of golf in. I did pick some weeds from the garden today.
The snow doesn't kill that off for you, eh?
No.
That sucks.
I don't know if there's any benefit to the snow besides snow sports. I really don't.
That's true.
After May long, we'll get some plants in the ground. Yeah.
So
what's going on, everybody? If you're first time, consider subscribing. Hit that thumbs up if you're joining us and you like our content. We really appreciate it. I always forget I got the narrow video here. I got to get my thumbs in there.
Maybe listen for a bit before you consider subscribing. Make sure it's worth your time. But then really hit that thumbs up. Give us a subscribe. We should have done a Spanish countdown. That would have made so much more sense. Next time. Next year.
Yeah.
I think first things first. The weather. You brought that up on Twitter today.
Yeah.
I think there was some chat about it in the Discord. It does look like there's potentially wind favoring the PM to AM split, so the people who teeing off in the afternoon on Thursday.
Yeah, so basically I'm looking at the Charlotte Yacht Club. I thought it was the closest to Quail Hollow. It's still about 12 miles away along the river, I guess it is. So not incredibly accurate, and weather can change real quickly. But basically, I mean, kind of looking Thursday, I think is kind of a wash. Mm-hmm. Yeah, PM will be a little bit easier. But when you look at Friday, it looks like the wind gets up significantly, like gusts over 20 miles per hour. But it's that really, really early window first thing that seems to be the best. Yeah,
and so the Friday afternoon looks the worst of what we have.
And Friday afternoon looks by far the worst. But I'm saying instead of just doing PM, AM, even go to Friday tee times, go to round 2, check out who's in the earliest window, especially
Taylor
if you're kind of looking for sleepers.
That's in the earliest window.
Matt Wallace.
Yeah. I was going to say, I did not go overboard, but I definitely did put in a few lineups that were wave stacks on the PM, AM.
Yeah, I think I did at least a handful. Of my 20, I did 3 or 4 at least. So actually I did some numbers. So because I think going too crazy is not good, but it makes more of a difference. I think I said this before for kind of your sleepers, I think. So for my plays under 8K, 9 of 15 of them are in the PM.
That's interesting.
But up top, it's about 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, these are small edges. It's a long ways out in terms of forecasting wind, timing of wind that far out and all those things. But, it's just something to keep in mind. Should we jump right into the top of this field? I think it's very interesting up top.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was just reading about the Mile High in Colorado. I feel like that's one of the places in the U.S. that I would feel at home. Colorado? It kind of feels like our sister city, to where I am right now.
Nice outdoor sports and stuff.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Got the Mountain Time Zone is the best time zone, but that's another rant for another day. No, it's by far the best. By far the best in terms of sports watching.
Oh yeah, let's not get into it. Let's get into golf. Okay,
let's do it.
I think to me, you look at the top. I mean, let's just look at all 10 Ks. 10K plus as one
Okay.
go. I did some interesting things up here, I think. So first off, JT, I'm sure you saw the post today. He's been putting in his time on the putting green. The tee green game, as we know,
Yeah.
last week was in wonderful shape. The putter was not. And so I think there's going to be a lot of people thinking that this is the natural correction and JT is the favorite to win. What are you doing with this?
So initially, when I was looking at these 10Ks, I thought, I need to make a stand. I need to make a stand somewhere. I wanted to play everyone all the way down to Patrick Reed. Like I really wanted, but you can't. I thought JT was going to be a cut. I ended up with a 10% FOMO on him. I got 10% of him just because he has been playing so good. But I don't love kind of most expensive JT.
Yeah.
I don't think his fit is necessarily the best for this
Yeah,
course.
so that's exactly where I came to, because I agree. Like it's so I don't have any. I have 0 JT, but it's not really like I'm not fading him so much as I just like the guys below him more. And so I'm not gonna I didn't give any ownership to him. I would have been fine. I could have given him a 10 or a 15%, but really I don't think it is really as much of a second shot course as he thrives on. So last week we saw him gain tee to green, but that's the type of course where I thought he was perfectly set up for that course. So
right
here I think it's a little bit different. And so I've decided to go for a few guys who are a little bit stronger with the driver as their primary weapon.
Okay, so sorry. So is it a full fade for you?
Full fade, but I wouldn't say it's a fade. Like I'm not fading JT. I think he still has a very good chance to win this. I think I think his game's still in very good shape. It's just I chose to put the money elsewhere.
Okay, quickly here. Bryson, Rom, Xander, Webb, Rory. That's a 10K plus. Anybody else was a full fade for you? Webb. Same here. But I don't like it. I don't like it because I think he's going to be low and because people think it's a bomber course. But
yeah, and honestly, it's sort of price. Like if he was below Hovland down in the Cantlay Finau range, I would have thought about it. He's got a decent course history here. It's just not great. Like he has, so he's made.
It's not elite.
He's made, I want to say, 7 or 8 of the last cats of the last, I guess 7 of the last 9, and his average finish over that time is 20th, and he's averaging a stroke around. So it's not bad, but at 5th in pricing, you're kind of looking for something a bit more to hang your hat on when he's not a perfect course fit. Like I get that he lives on the course. I get all of that. But yeah.
But the other thing with that, so a couple things with that. A, he's on the road all the time. So the home course thing it's a little bit of a reach narrative. If you grew up on the course, I think that's a little bit different. And he says how he plays it when he does play it is never like Wells Fargo because it's
set up totally different.
It's set up totally different. I can't even think about the green machine where they roll they do things. They roll the greens, whatever it is, to make it tournament. Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't really get near the greens. You were just watching from the bunker, raking away.
No, I'm
you rolled a couple greens, yeah.
No, mode. I didn't get on the roller.
Yeah, so I did something interesting here. So first off, I guess you went heavy on Bryson. I'm assuming you picked him for your one and done. You pulled the trigger on Bryson. I'm assuming you went heavy ownership on Bryson.
Well, for our pick show, I told you I really like Rom as well. I went 30% Bryson, 25% Rom. I'll just kind of go through. I have no Webb. I got a 10% FOMO on Xander, and I got 15% on Rory.
Yeah, so similar, except for I did something silly. So
of course you did.
I have Bryson at 15%. Just to, I'm not as committed to you. I have Rom at 80%. 8-0 in case you were wondering.
What is your?
So I think Rom. So I was thinking about this as I was struggling to make my lineups, and I was thinking about Finau, and I was thinking about Hovland, and I was thinking about DJ, and all these guys who have been on these crazy hot streaks at different points through the years. And I'm like, man, like honestly, if he was still on that streak, I would just hammer him. And like, so we have Rom on this streak where he literally has been top 10 in 8 of his last 10 starts.
10.
And I know. Like if you look back, he hasn't missed a cut since the Charles Schwab. He has been just absolutely lighting it up. Like, why not? What's the downside?
And all tee to green, and he's historically a really good putter.
Exactly. So
his stats on the
so
side there.
I think it's a great course fit. I think that I heard I think it was Rick Rungood. I heard maybe it was I forget who it was. Anyways, regardless, I heard someone say he has not lost strokes in a tournament off the tee since the 2019 Tour Championship, which like that is bonkers considering how easily you could put one in the water, miss a cut, and like it's so easy to have a slight loss over the course of a tournament off the tee. So I think we underestimate how good Jon Rahm is playing because he hasn't had flashy wins. Yeah. So he's third in pricing. Yeah. I'm hammering it hard essentially.
Well, I think I forget where we talked about it. It might have been on our podcast, but I think Rahm is the best player in the world right now. JT's had flashes. DJ hasn't been able to kind of keep it up. Rahm's been super, super consistent. He just doesn't. He hasn't got. I mean, he should have 2 wins when he has 0 since the Memorial.
So that's what I think. So I would say, say JT, Bryson, Rom, say they have comparable win equities, like win percentages. I think Rom, though, has the highest top 10 percentage, the highest top 20 percentage, the highest made cut percentage. So that's ultimately, I think he has the safest floor of anyone up there. I also like, so the only ones I don't have Rom. So I have him in 80%. The only ones I don't are the ones where I stacked, because he's on the bad side of the field, which makes it all the more silly to take the stand. But
but for him, I don't think like that. That's what, maybe a half stroke
so
2 days.
If he is one of the best players in the world, I think he can handle getting through the wind on Friday. But yeah, essentially, I like to play. I decided that it's the play I like the most this week, so I'm going to hammer it. The difference between me having him at 50 and 80%, ultimately, really, I'm just cutting my losses a bit. Like, I'm probably not going to have a winning week unless I really spike a lineup somewhere. So I'm trying to spike a lineup with Rom in it and have as many combinations as I can. I haven't been following the chat here. I'm sure I'm getting lit up.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a little bit of feedback here. Lyndon just says, "Oh boy."
It was probably like an "Oh boy."
Rom 80. Wow. He only has him in 2 lineups. JG Funk agrees, hard not to play him. Stephen Davidson's going with JT and Rom in 70. Robert says, and this is a good point, if he doesn't make the cut, 80% of your lineups are burned, and you might have a new curse going along with your name and your picks here for a little while until you buck
so I totally agree, and like that's where I think Bryson, JT, obviously Rory, but I think all of these guys have way more miscut equity. If you look at Rom, like his every round, he's had one really bad round, and it was at the concession. He just had a blow up 76, I think it was, but other than that, it's very, very rare for him to have bad rounds. So, I'm probably putting the perfect game curse on him and bringing it up. But I hammered Jon Rahm. But in the interest of keeping things moving, Xander, I've
one more comment here. JG Funk says, great info between you and RRG. Rick Rungood, I feel confident each week. All of that, we think a lot of these other content guys are great. It's good to get info from all sources. And we're not saying play this guy or match Craig's exposure. We're just saying here's our rationale.
This is what I decided to do
behind
this
what
week.
we're doing. Yeah, this is what I've decided to do. And here's why. And if you're like, yeah, cool, I kind of agree, I'll do a little bit of that, or like, no, that's
a stupid thing to do.
That's also great too. So yeah,
if I was putting in 150 lineups, I probably wouldn't, because I would get more combinations with Rom in a 50 or 60%, say, if I wanted to go heavy. But with 20 lineups, I feel like if I want to try to get the perfect lineup with Rom, then that's how I have to do it. Anyways, so I've got Xander at 15%, and I've got Rory at a little 10%.
Man, if you're pairing him with Rom, you got some guys down low.
So a few of those are my 4 lineups that I've gone with the PM AM stack.
Right. What was I going to say? Oh, how big is your player pool?
28.
Okay, I'm at 31, and I don't have anyone above 30% this week, which is a change for me. Sergio's not here, so what can I do?
I obviously don't have a lot of I have a lot of guys who are low priced because I have so much Rom. But okay, so Xander, we're coming off a top 5 at the Masters. I'm wondering if we're maybe seeing a little bit of form here again. He did play, mediocre to well with Cantlay at Zurich. But
yeah,
I don't give much credence to his tournament history here. He's a different player than he was back in 17-18. So I'm not
completely agree. And I feel like we're getting him under 12%, under 15%, which is kind of great. But I don't know if I'll beat it. I've 10%.
yeah.
But
And then
just
Rory.
kind of
What do you think about Rory?
Yeah, I like Rory.
I mean,
great course history. One of the best course histories on any course of any player. I'm gonna keep.
I think likely will be underweight on him. I think that Rory will have higher ownership here than you would expect given his form. But we haven't seen him since the Masters. We know that he's been putting in work with a new coach, or a coach he's known for a while, but has worked with more intensely in the last little bit here.
Yeah.
I am going to try to be early on him, but I thought about trying to make a big play on Rory this week. I couldn't quite get there because I think his ownership is going to be high enough that I'd have to go very heavy to make it, to be significantly overweight. So I might hammer him in showdowns this week. And
I was just going to say, you're going to be chasing him in showdowns for sure, without a doubt. Matthew Zeman is planting his flag. No way JT doesn't win here this week. Form is great. Won here at the PGA. Yeah. I don't disagree with that. I just don't like him being the highest.
If he hits the ball like he did last week and has a good putting week, then I agree. But it's easy to say after someone has a putting week like that like, oh, they're going to continue to hit the ball that good. Like, no, sometimes you just missed your shot where you had a perfect ball striking week.
Yeah, gaining 3 strokes on approach in a single round is not like approach is sustainable. Gaining 3 strokes on approach is not.
I mean, that said, JT's the best approach player in the world. But anyways, into the 9Ks. I think 9Ks are really interesting here.
Yeah, let's go 95 and above. So we've got Vic Hovland, Patrick Cantlay, Tony Finau. Any of them not make your lineups here, Craig?
I faded Cantlay.
Man, we have the same fades, and these are the 2 guys. Webb and Cantlay are the guys I faded up top. Just have to make room. I am such a Cantlay homer, but it's been 3 different putters in his last 3 events. It's been 3 missed cuts. The players he's burning.
And he's talking about a new swing. So, where I say I'm going to be trying to be early on Rory, I'll probably try to, depending on what Rory does this week, I'll probably try to be aggressive on him at the PGA. Cantlay, I think I need to see it first. If he, it's been bad and he's talking about doing changes to his swing, I'll let it come into form.
Yeah, it pains me if I'm going to miss that quick bounce back, but I feel like I have to. I feel
like I've already missed the quick bounce back because I played it all the way down.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's my fade as well, but I went Vic Hovland. I went 25%. I really love his potential, his scoring, and Tony Finau I went 25% as well. I feel like he sets up well. DFS scorer, all that.
Yeah, so I actually tried to get heavier on Hovland, but I couldn't because I gave so much to Rom. But I think honestly, if I could go back and try to make some more Rom Hovlands, I think that's pretty close to my ideal start. I ended up with 20% on Hovland and 10 on Finau, but I think Hovland's in a great spot right now. We were talking about this on the pod, but I think he had a short little out of form period there, and I think he's going to be right back in form.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much takes on Hovland. Like, these guys are all good, and they can. I mean, where you have to get
Finau. Of course, sets up well for him, or it should. I think it's a good price at 95.
Yeah, good second guy in for sure. Good second guy in pairing with the Rom.
You can make an argument to start Bryson here. I think there's enough talent in the low 9s that you could. I actually think I started below here. I started one with Will Zalatoris, but.
I started one. I got a crazy one, Craig. I started one at Neiman.
Oh, I like it. Okay, so let's get into the low 9s here because I think this is very interesting. So do you have any fades?
So this is an interesting take. Matthew Seaman says, I miss the days when Zalatoris was in the 7,000s a few months ago. Even at the Masters, I figured his price was. Everybody on golf Twitter, my birdies are chirping at me. Everyone is playing Zalatoris this week. Every single person is playing Zalatoris this week. I was going to go full fade of him. He was my fade in the pick sheet we sent on Twitter. That fade there is more of a pump the brakes. I don't like his betting, where he's at in the betting market. I don't like where his price is at. So I only went 10% because I don't want to completely miss out if he gets his first PGA win. But I think he shouldn't be above Patrick Reed. Give me a break.
I disagree.
No way.
I disagree.
Come on.
Yeah. So did you fade him?
I got 10%.
Okay.
And to me, that's going to be, I think he might be the highest owned guy. I think he could be
Zalatoris?
25% plus.
Oh, I don't think
Yeah.
so. I think at this price point, I don't think you. I mean, I think a lot of people are taking him in the. I think more people are taking him in the betting markets than we'll see in DFS,
for sure.
because you kind of have to give up playing other people, and I do think there's other attractive plays around here. The thing that I come back to, like, so Zalatoris, it was RBC recently that he missed the cut. Did he miss the cut there? Or was it just a bad result? Oh yeah, so tied for 42.
First week coming off that Masters,
and it's not a course that sets up well for him. Like he is more of a bomber. Like I don't think he's a bomber where he can't do anything else off the tee, but he is more. He thrives more on these ones where you need to have distance. I think is why he did so well in his Masters debut. He's an excellent ball striker. I think the reality is we're just trying to finalize where it is that Will Z lives. And I don't mind this range. I think that obviously if he's going to stay here, he's going to have to start winning. Like he's going to have to show up with some wins here soon. But I mean, Tony Finau doesn't win. We're still playing him at 9,500.
Yeah, but he pops into the top 3 kind of DFS point earners regularly. Cantley's got a couple wins, and that his price is carrying that.
But I definitely totally agree that I liked it better when Zalatoris was 700 or 7,000.
It just, the only really guy below him, maybe Neiman, but Patrick Reed just seems like he should, like, look at his world golf rank. He's 7.
The thing with Patrick Reed, though, and this is where, so Patrick Reed is really good at winning tournaments, I think, but he also but he puts up stinkers, and I think it's just in part because he. Maybe not as many stinkers as I thought, but he's not one of these guys like even Finau, when Finau is in his good form, he's there every week in, week out. He's a top 10 player, multiple times in the top 5s, all that kind of thing. Patrick Reed, I think, is someone who will come out and win a tournament when everything clicks, but then he'll miss more cuts than you would expect of someone who's in the top 10 of the official World Golf rankings. I faded Patrick Reed this week, and that was one of my harder ones. I actually had him in there, and then I ended up taking him out just because it spread ownership out too thinly in this range.
Yep, that's fair. What about these last 3? We got Connors, Neiman, Homa.
This is funny. So Connors and Neiman are a play for me. Neiman was my pick on our Pick'em show, and Homa, he's my one and done. So I do like him this week, but I don't have any ownership on him. So similar to JT, I don't mind the play. It's just I had to go elsewhere in DFS.
Yeah, so mine's a little bit more spread out this week. I got one lineup with Connors. I don't really know how that happened. I usually like to have at least 2 lineups at 10%. Just those, I like those round numbers. I don't like seeing the 5%. Neiman, I like afternoon tea time. He's 30% for me, which is what in the group of the highest owned guys. He's one of your picks on our pick show. I agree. He can pop a little bit too underpriced. And Homa, I'm kind of buying the hype on Homa. I got 15%, kind of middling pack there.
He's got the requisite distance. He's a good putter. Obviously has good course history. Yeah. Well, he has a win, so. My ownership, I'm 15% Zalatoris and Connors and 20 on Neiman. So my highest guys above 9,000 are Neiman, Hovland, both at 20%, and then Rom.
Yeah. Let's take a little pause there. If you're just watching for the first time, we like to kind of answer a few things as we go, but we usually like to talk about guys as we're in that area. But I mean, I don't like to have an overwhelmed chat, so let's talk about a couple of things here. So Revokes has them either or, and there's 3 guys each side, Craig. So it's Bubba, Akshay, Brian Harmon on one side, or Russell Henley, HV3, and Justin Suh. Who are you taking of that 3-pack?
That's tough.
I'm going Henley, HV3, and Suh. I'm playing 2 of the 3 of those guys, which is more than the other side.
I'm only playing 1 guy of the 6, and that's Suh. I have a fade on Batia this week, and not necessarily because I'm fading him, just because I had to find ways to cut my pool. I would probably... I'd probably lean Watson, Batia, Harmon. I mean, they're both volatile, I would say. I would say maybe that one's more volatile, and the Henley HV3 Suh is the safer one. Do we know if it's Sa or if it's Sue?
I think it's
Okay,
Sa.
that's what
It's Ndamukong
I
Suh,
know.
but
Yeah,
Justin's Sa.
I've heard both, and so that's why I'm a little uncertain on that one.
I thought the PGA. I'm pretty sure.
Well, we'll just have to keep an ear out for it if we ever see him on a broadcast.
Okay, Brandon B. I've played Reed 3 times, he says, this year, and he's missed the cut all 3 times. So my question back to you is, did you play him this week? Because I gotta know.
So this is where Patrick Reed kills me and this is why I found him so hard to keep out, because he's not super long, but he plays long, difficult courses well, and it kind of boggles your mind. I think it's just because he's so good at scrambling. So when other people are forced into situations where they have to scramble, then he's better than them at it.
Or the other thing I really like to do, like instead of looking driving distance, look at greens in regulation at 200 plus or something. Like that's a good way to judge guys. And it surprises you. Like Webb pops up there. I think even guys like Zach Johnson will pop up there because they realize they need to hit their long irons well.
So if you look at the course comps, I think Augusta is a decent one in terms of what it asks of you. And I think Torrey Pines is a decent one. So you look at what Patrick Reed, he was top 10 at the Masters. He was first at Farmers. He was tied for 8 at the Masters. Probably Arnold Palmer. He didn't do well there, so maybe that's why I decided the fate. But I think Reed is a higher risk, high reward though if he hits.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into some 8Ks here. We got a question about answers, so let's jump in here. 8Ks, Craig. We have answer starting off M. Harmon Day. Let's go down to Keegan Bradley. It's kind of 85 and up. What are you doing in this region?
So I had to clamp down. Like essentially I had to roll a lot of 7K guys out. So I sacrificed in the 8Ks. I have only one of these guys at 8,500 and above.
Yeah, I only have 4 plays total in the 8Ks, and a lot are going to surprise you, or a few of them are going to surprise you. One is Sungjae Im, who I talked about on our show, but I still only got 20% there. Answer, the question from Zeman was, answer has been consistent. Do you think he'll ever get a win though? Has he won on tour before? I think he will get a win for sure. I don't think it'll be here. I don't think it's a great setup, but I think a win is on the horizon. He's been playing very well.
Yeah, I like the form a lot. With Answer, I feel like he's going to do better at a course that doesn't demand as much distance, that is a little bit more precision focused. But he has played well at some of these courses that comp decently. So, I mean, you can make a case for him. I had to fade all these guys because I have a lot of expensive ownership and I had to find places to sacrifice.
So I think it's a very interesting area, and I can understand why people can get there. So we'll skip over Sunday. That's in our pick show. We talked about it there. I think he's a fine play. I think, again, two of the things I'm looking at that our model showed is good drivers, good putters, and Sungjae's one of the best putters recently. So
now that's interestingly on Sungjae is not super long. So Sungjae to me is more like Corey Connors, and Corey Connors has a very, very good record on these long, difficult courses. I think potentially because they're so accurate and they're so good, like they have such good swings. Their driver swing is so accurate that they then are good with their long clubs into greens because it's that same long, smooth swing. So I don't have Sungjae, but if I was, if I hadn't gone into such an extreme position this week, then I think I probably would have kept Sungjae in over an Abe Answer.
Yeah. Brian Harmon, his win here was on a different course. Just in case you don't know that, make sure you do know that now. In 2017, but his has been playing very well. Yeah. I mean, if you go to Data Golf and you look at the last 3 months or whatever it is, like he is constantly above where he's priced, but he just still seems too expensive to me at 8,700.
And that's I totally agree. I could get there with Connors because I feel like it's such a thing about the fundamentals of his game, like his ball striking. He's gaining 1.6 strokes probably with his ball striking over the past 2 years, and then his putter has become good. Whereas Harmon, yes, his form is awesome right now, and I'm okay with riding the wave, but that wave feels like it's going to crash at any point.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't surf, but I don't know if that's good. Like, I don't know when you're supposed to jump off the wave. Jason Day has an awesome course history.
Awesome course history. A guy I'd like to play, but didn't get there myself. Off the tee looks good recently. Approach doesn't look great. Putting just one bad round. Yeah, I mean, I can get there with Jason Day. Again, for me as well, Craig, like the high AKs, it seemed a little bit of a vacuum. If anything, the one guy I would have added here was probably Keegan
So
Bradley.
I have Keegan. I was going to say, the one play I have at 85 and up is Keegan.
Okay.
I have him at 20%. And essentially, so Jason Day is similar to Reed in some ways. I think he plays a long, difficult course as well. I think he's a fine play this week. I just didn't get there.
Yeah.
Keegan, I'm just riding the form. His form's so good right now, and it's been good for a little while.
I mean, look at he's positive in 4 of the last 5 putting. Like that's very good. I mean, that's a kind of a turnaround like Corey Connors, kind of. If these guys can figure out how to putt consistently, like good, not even.
Don't
great,
love the fact that he's missed 4 of 4 cuts here. But yeah. Maybe I'll reevaluate my Keegan play.
Let's jump into lowercase. Who do we got here? We got Chingali, Bubba, Shane Lowry, Griot, Tommy Fleetwood. Anybody else at AK here, Craig? If you scroll down.
Sorry, Tringali, Watson, Lowry, Griot, Fleetwood, Harris.
And Harris, right. So I got 2 plays here, and I kind of went the veteran way here. I got Shane Lowry and Tommy Fleetwood.
So similar but different. I went Cam Tringali and Shane Lowry.
Oh, sorry, I have Tringali too.
So then I just don't have Fleetwood. Tringali, brought him up on the pick show. His form's awesome. A lot of people are going to avoid him because it's unsustainable, but he's a guy that I'm going to ride the wave with. And, it's getting up there in price. If he was up in the, Brian Harman, Sung Jae, like I wouldn't play him over a Sung Jae Im, but
right.
I think at this price point, I like him better than the people around him.
It does seem a little bit trappy.
Mm-hmm. And the ownership, if the ownership follows, that's an issue, but I don't know. I think I'm not opposed to riding people who are on streaks in golf.
We got a question here. Next guy down, he's Bubba Watson. Doogie79 is asking, Watson, Ortiz, or Wallace Jones? My question here is, Ortiz, Wallace Jones are all about the same price. So there's salary being left on the board that it's not really adding up here between those. You know what I'm saying? Bubba Watson is significantly higher price. So I would go Watson Ortiz. I'm not playing Bubba this week though, but
yeah, I don't have Bubba. I don't mind Bubba. I mean, I think he's a decent fit. He's got the driver, obviously. He has shown some good form of recent, so you can hang your hat on that. So I don't think he's a bad play by any means. I have both. I have Cam Tringali and Shane Lowry both at 25%. So
interesting. So yeah, I got 20% on Shane Lowry, and PY also saying Lowry's been sneaky good. I kind of agree. A guy I like on the greens for sure. A guy I like with it's when we get to these kind of courses, you kind of forget about these guys, and you're like, yeah, of course Lowry's kind of there Saturday, Sunday afternoon, kind of battling for that top 10. Yeah, it makes sense because Lowry's a great golfer, and has been for a while. So just kind of I don't know. After the Masters, you kind of look like, okay, who are these like Hidekis that have been really good for a while, but just, are being a little bit slept on.
Yeah, and it felt like his form hadn't been great for a little while, but it seems like we're starting to get him come into a little bit of form. So, I agree. I think Lowry has been sneaky good, and so I'm getting in on that.
Yeah, we're both there.
Griot. I think Griot is a polarizing play this week.
I mean, it's too expensive to me.
Well, essentially, you could argue that except for that, whatever happened on Friday, his form has been absurdly good. I think to me, that's the Griot story. Like that,
why play Griot when we can play Varner or EVR or even Cam Davis for $1,000 less? Like it's just as much volatility. It's ball striking. It's...
Yeah, I mean Griot's ball strike is pretty special, and it has been special of recent. So I get it, but essentially it's a high risk, high reward play.
Yeah.
I'm not getting there. I got burnt by it last week, and I'm going to make the emotional play, which you would probably be better off to avoid making the emotional play, but I want people who aren't going to go from second to missing cuts. That's why I'm reevaluating my Keegan Bradley play. Usually he goes from first to missing cuts.
Yeah.
So Tommy Fleetwood, tell me about Tommy.
Tommy Boy, I feel like when I was thinking more of the profile of the course and, kind of like an EVR. I talked about EVR on our pick show where, he hasn't played a lot of Masters or WGCs, but when he has, he's been pretty good. And I feel like that's kind of like Tommy as well. He can score. He can kind of show up on these harder courses, faster greens, straight. I don't even have his stats handy with me, but when I think of him, I think of as a good driver. And I feel like when I was looking at his recent form, it actually hasn't been that bad.
Yeah, I feel like it seems worse than it is, but I also feel like it's because we expect more from Tommy Fleetwood. So I think I'm going to start considering buying the dip. I'd like to see a little bit of form from him this week. I'm not on it this week, so just real quick, I see Ray Flores and Matt Zeman chatting about McCarthy Schwartzel. So I obviously like Schwartzel. I had him as a pick this week. I think that he has the distance, but I also am playing McCarthy. So I'd like both of them. Zeman's saying pay up $100 for Nee Smith. I also have Nee Smith, so I think those are all good options. If I had to choose one, I'd probably be on Schwartzel just because I like the direction he's tracking in kind of a wider angle look at things. I think he's got distance. McCarthy, his putter is so good right now. I just worry about... I don't know how well he's going to do it. Of course, it demands so much from so many aspects of your game.
Yeah.
But it also demands a lot from your putter. So he may be able to ride that a little ways. Nee Smith, well, we'll get there, I think. Because I think he's more volatile probably than the other two.
I have different thoughts in that range for sure.
Okay, so
but if we're moving on, so actually the one guy I want to talk about, Harris English, to cap off our AKs, popped on the model, which is kind of interesting to me.
It's a short game, I think.
Me. Yeah.
And also the fact that his last year was so good and it takes a wide angle look at things.
Yeah. So if you look at the strokes gained 1920, significantly higher, almost a full stroke higher for him than his 2020, 2021 stats. But
yeah,
I thought it was interesting.
If I could get 2020 Harris English, I would definitely be playing him at that price.
At AK, yeah. So when we get into the high sevens here, Craig, this is a vacuum for me. I have sevens? One play.
Yeah, so I have I've got two plays above 7,500.
Let's hear it.
I have Stuart Sink. I'm riding the two-time winner on the season. He's making his play for Player of the Year. And I have Taylor Gooch going back to the well on that one, even though it burnt me last week.
Interesting. So it's Sink, sneaky long.
That's
playing
yours?
Well. No. Sorry, mine is HV3.
HV3. Yeah, I almost got there as well. I get it. I've been burnt by HV3 so much. I got a bitter taste in my mouth.
Good for him. Local, as we kind of said. He got that baby announcement out of the way. He's probably less stressed now. It's out in the public. Doesn't have to hide it anymore. Wife is past that critical point of, they can tell people. All that stress. Yeah. All that stress.
Lyndon G is saying Streelman and Gooch for him, and I would listen to him because this is the same range where he was saying Keegan Bradley last week, and that one seemed to work out. I think it was Lyndon that was saying Keegan Bradley, and that one worked out pretty well from I think it was 7,900 last week. So Russell Henley, I think that's an interesting one. I think there's value there. I can't do it. I don't know if the distance. I don't know if this type of course is that great for him. So. That's why I didn't get there. Kind
of like JT, not the right fit. Kind of like if it's not the second.
I like him better at an RBC Heritage. Like it's hard with some of these players because you're like, oh well, like coming off a T3 and a T9, those courses ask very different things of their games, and he's very good at those courses. I don't like him as much at this one, but he can be dangerous at, like, his ball striking can be dangerous. So Glover, I think you could also get there. Now the one thing that surprised me once I looked at him a little bit more, he's not as long as he used to be. He has become much more of an accuracy guy off the tee, which was why I was actually looking at Sink and Glover and kind of trying to decide between the two. Sink has gained distance and Glover has actually lost a bit. So
well, that's what Matthew Zeman was saying. He's hitting it longer than he ever has. At any point in his career, which is also like he's kind of exhibit A for like the whole row back. Like, why is Stuart Sink at 40 whatever hitting it that far?
Because he's got his son's on the bag, and you want to make sure you still can.
Reagan's his hype man. Let's go, Dad.
You got this. I guess the other one that obviously needs to be talked about is Ricky Fowler.
I don't want to. I just didn't get there.
So
what do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, he has an awesome history at this course, obviously. If you can make a good argument that if he's going to find it, he could find it here. Are we accepting that Ricky is gone, or are we thinking that it's okay?
I'm not.
But you're not going to try to be early.
People are saying he's going down. He has to go down the Corn Ferry Tour and all this, and I'm not buying that.
Agreed.
I also think Ricky will figure it out. If he didn't have that special invite to the PGA Championship, I kind of would have thought there would be some extra motivation. I thought that for the Masters as well. That didn't turn out. I don't know what needs to be the Kickstarter here to get Ricky going, but I'm not gonna hope and prayer that it's this week. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah, I don't know if Ricky needs any extra motivation. I think he's got all the motivation he needs, with everyone always talking about how he needs to get his game together.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of it clicking. Like, it's a hard game, and to play this level is hard, and he had it for a while and he has lost it, and he needs to try to get back. And I'm not going to try to be early on it. I'm going to let it happen, and I will be happy to try to find the value once I see it.
Sorry guys, I am a little bit distracted. I got my province opened up vaccines to people over 30 for tomorrow, and that is me. So I'm following like this vaccine tracker.
If you need to go, you go deal with that.
I want to get that shot in the arm as soon as I can. I'm going tomorrow if I can, but I don't know if I can. But that's why I'm kind of peeking here. I'm peeking at the chat. I'm a little bit distracted. Brandon was one of my last cuts.
Yeah. Any thoughts?
He's a cut.
Just good cut maker, it seems like.
Good cut maker. Ultimately, it wasn't sexy enough for me. I went Harold Varner.
This is where I struggle, because like a lot of these guys here, I feel like you're getting similar plays $200, $300, $400 cheaper.
Yeah, you are, and it kind of does seem like the veterans that make the cuts, or like it's just a weird kind of range. It really get me excited.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that are in similar places on Rick, where we want to see him. We want to see it before we're going to jump back on.
Yeah, the chat is pretty unanimous there.
Gooch is a good putter. I know what happened last week. It was ugly, but I'm still gonna give him a chance this week. We'll see. It might turn out to be a bad play, but
I think that's a fine play. I didn't get there myself, but I get that.
And so on those ones, let me see here. I have 25% on Sink and 20% on Gooch.
Okay. So that, I mean, before we go into 75 here.
We do have thoughts on Merritt and Lashley.
I don't know where they're priced.
Troy Merritt is honestly mid.
Oh, I just saw Lashley skip
64 for Lashley. I'm not getting there personally. I mean,
I got high sixes and I got low sixes, but I didn't get many in the mid.
I think I actually have a play at
any.
6,400. But you'll have to stay tuned for that. I'm not getting there on Lashley. I don't know if he has enough made. He has done a decent job of making cuts, but I'm not super confident in it. What was the other one? Troy Merritt. Where is Troy Merritt at here? I want to say I saw him. Yeah. I actually feel like I considered Merritt for a second and a half.
Nothing really gets me excited there.
I mean, he is
a lot of
top
red.
10. But the problem for me is that he did so much of that with his putter last week that that does cause me some concern.
Yeah, Taylor Gooch is a great follow on Twitter. He paid back a fan. I don't even think the initial fan that reached out to him, but he paid back, like, he Venmo'd $50 to someone. I would say my stance is don't be the person adding tagging golfers or athletes. If they search their own name and they find it, that's kind of funny, but I'm not.
Well, yeah, the way I see it, these are people. They have very stressful jobs. They care a lot more about this than
yeah, they don't need our motivation.
Whatever.
Benny Ann is actually really.
Benny Ann, I think, is one of the best Twitter follows. I love how he just gets up there and mixes it up in random comments on people. But like, it doesn't sound. You sound like kind of an idiot when you like get in there and you're like, oh, like, why'd you miss that? Like, yeah, this guy just, that missed cut cost him $30,000. So like, yeah, it caused you to not get a 6 out of 6, but he, he has to figure out a way to keep his tour card. Like, he's got more things going.
He's gonna throw his club. He's throwing his clubs in his trunk and driving a couple states over.
Trying to see if his wife has messaged him, and she's got to see. Yeah. So, yeah, that I would agree with you on that one. But let's get into 7,500s here.
While we're there, please hit that thumbs up. It's right there. If you're joining us live or if you're joining us later, I feel awkward just staring at that number without it growing. I kind of feel like we're not. We said we thought we'd kind of prove ourselves. I feel like I
thought by the time I said Rom 80%, I thought people would be like thumbs up. Okay, so 7,500.
I got a lot of plays here. I'm gonna rip through a list.
Okay, I've got a lot of plays here too. So let's see. I'll give you the yay or nay if I have them as well.
Matt Wallace, Francesco Molinari,
nay.
Gary Woodland.
Nay. Wait, are you just saying all the plays? No. These are all yours. Okay.
These are my plays. Carlos Ortiz.
Nay.
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 Wow. Matt Jones.
Yay.
Sebastian Munoz.
Yay.
Eric Van Rooyen.
Nay.
Man, this is harsh. So basically, you're just slapping my face with the sleepers on our sleepers show.
No, man, you picked some risky guys.
I did. Charles Schwartz.
Yay.
Cameron Davis.
Nay. That was your other sleeper, wasn't it? Actually, I had both Cam Davis and EVR, and then I was building my lineups. I'm like, man, I've got way too much ownership down here in the low 7Ks. I need to get some safe plays here. And those guys were both not safe plays.
Man, that's harsh. No Ortiz, no EVR, no Cam Davis.
Man, you picked super risky guys here.
So I just realized that my computer wasn't updating the likes. I was still at 3. So
it's really feeling like you're talking into an empty room. So here's the guys that you want me to get on board with. Like, so first off, totally agree on the talent with Ortiz and EVR, but like I have heavy, like I start DeChambeau Rom. I've got to have like all my plays down here in the 7s. I can't really count on like a whole bunch of guys that have low cut make percentages. If I have one of these guys, then it's one thing.
Let me stop you right there, Craig. Those were only my plays that Craig was agreeing with. Craig might have plays as well. We didn't skip over guys. We're going to talk about people here, but those are just my plays.
Okay, so you said Wallace. Did you say Jones? No? Matt Jones?
Yeah, I got some Matt Jones. Yeah. So Wallace is part of my 30%. He's got a PM wave. He's got that first tee time on Friday. A lot of people are on him. His ownership will be high, but he's playing really well. He's one of my highest owns.
Yeah. Lonto, I went to. Ian Poulter.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Lonto, I mean, kind of like people were talking with Reed. I just play Lonto at the bad times, and he's kind of that emotional. Well, I have a bunch of other.
So I think Lonto does, and I think I ended up looking at his Farmers was the thing that tipped me over the edge on it. But I think he does play somewhat well at these courses that do ask for a little bit of distance, but I don't know. I think he's a safer name down at 7,400 compared to a lot of the other guys here.
I think
so. I'm just looking. Essentially, I need to get some cut makers here because I've tried to put my win equity up higher. Cut makers obviously with upside, but so then I went Ian Poulter, Matthew Nee Smith, and Munoz all at 73. And then I have Denny and Charles Schwartzel at 72.
Ian Poulter has a new caddy this week. I think it's his son. That'll be interesting to watch, just a side note.
Yeah, and he needs to be playing a little bit faster this week too.
Yeah, like by 0.1 seconds or something.
0.56 seconds per shot faster.
Denny, I am not there at all. I think Denny is an easy fave for me, unless he's rolling in 20-footers Thursday and Friday.
That's exactly what I expect him to do.
I don't think he can putt his way to a high finish here.
I hear you. I don't think it's...
So I'm taking all ball strikers.
I hear you. I don't think Denny is the strongest of plays this week, but he's on a 6 tournament cut streak, so he's got something going.
Yep.
I like Charles a lot better at 72. And then I have Jonathan Vegas at 7, and Pat Kazire. Those are a couple little head scratches there for you.
Yeah, those are definitely head scratchers. Talk about those guys.
So let's just real quick. Here. So Matt Jones, we spoke about on the show. I think that's clear. Lonto, we talked about briefly. Nee Smith, I think, is someone I want to chat about here for a sec, because he was talked about earlier.
Yep.
I think Nee Smith. So to me, the key, he's getting into like low key Griot, Keegan Bradley. That type of range where that's essentially when his putter is good, he can pop. And so I'm gonna play him with that in mind, that the ball striking is good, and if his putter shows up at all, like it's always the weeks when he has good putting weeks that he ends up making cuts and getting up into top 20. Yeah. So I think that's worth a shot, but he probably is one of my guys that has less cut make potential. But I think there's more upside to him.
Before we, sorry, Craig, I just realized we're out of order a little bit for mine. Quick thought on Gary Woodland, if you want to click there. To me, kind of like that Shane Lowry, Tommy Fleetwood, Gary Woodland a little bit cheaper. It's just kind of I got quite a bit of them. I got 20%.
That seems risky.
It's kind of like, it is risky, but again, these demanding courses, it's like, okay, who shows up at Memorial? Who shows up at a major kind of out of nowhere? And Gary Woodland, I feel like, can do that. Like, he can win on fast greens, so he should be able to get, like, it's almost more comfortable to let others fall back and have him kind of stay steady in these harder courses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not there on the health with Woodland, so I'm going to stay away from him until I see some consistency from him.
Back to the
sorry, I'm just going to scroll through here, see who other people are wanting us to chat. Stanley ZJ. So skip Griffin. I think we ended up getting to Griffin a bit. I like Lonto. I think he is one of the safer cut makes here. I don't know.
Going back, Cregan, welcome to the live show. Glad you could join us.
Oh, you're losing your face on me here again.
It's always that time of the show. Low 7Ks, I lose half my face.
I
can't say
Stanley. I mean, Stanley's ball striking's awesome. I'm not even gonna give you that one. Stanley's actually on a good little run here, it seems. Oh no, maybe not. Stanley's ball striking's good. I would put him in similar to a Nee Smith in terms of having. He's got the ball striking. There's plays I like around here better, personally.
Yeah, Stanley was a late cut. Ultimately, is the putting.
Yeah, and Matt Zeman, I totally agree with. I think you can fade Wallace on ownership. Oh, hey, Adam, you're back.
What's up?
But I also think he's value there. So, I like the play. I do think he'll be highly owned, but you could completely fade him, and you could then... if he plays poorly, if he misses the cut, then you've got an edge on a good chunk of the field.
He seems to be that guy, and I think he'll compete for top 5-ish ownership. He does seem to be kind of like he could be that trap of the week. Like a Henley last week.
Yeah. I totally agree. I also think
But I got there.
A lot of people, I think, stay away from Matt Wallace because he's a head case, and... I hear you, but so, athletes are all different kinds of personalities. So I just think because it's a hard course and he's a bit of he can run hot. Like, I'm not gonna assume that he's gonna do worse because he's gonna make a bogey and have to get over it. Like, he's a professional golfer.
No
yes, he does lose his mind, but Billy Horschel does too, and that guy is pretty successful.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Okay,
where are we at here? Are we 73, 72 ish?
Yeah, I mean,
we talked a lot about these guys in our plays.
Oh, I think Aaron Wise is someone we should talk about here for a sec, because I think he is getting some attention.
Too much ownership. I like the other guys.
And he is such a putter. 10%. Like, he is these guys to the max.
Yeah.
If it pops, it pops.
Liability.
But I think he'll have ownership, and I just have no faith in his ability to make a cut.
People that wait a lot course history, he'll pop. He'll get in lots of lineups that way. It's not somewhere I wanted to go.
Yeah. Although I'm trying to get off these ball strikers, and it did not make for a good. It didn't work so well when one of them happened to win the tournament last week. It made me question trying to get off all these guys who are just ball strikers.
Yeah.
The problem I find is that all these ball strikers, like a Nee Smith, Cam Davis, Griot, like, I think everyone is on them. So, like, everyone's on them the same every week. There's this little extra bit of ownership because they're ball strikers. Does that outweigh the potential upside they have when their putter clicks? And that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Okay, Stanley, Woodland. Not some people are not fans of the Woodland play. Yeah, I think we caught up here.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah, I feel like my chat is. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so let me talk about a couple of guys. EVR, I got 25%. He is in the wrong wave. I don't like that at all for someone of his blow up potential.
So we don't actually have his numbers here, but
yeah, he goes by Frederick a lot, so that kind of.
Well, he's just changed, or PGA Tour has just changed it recently, so he goes by Frederick some places.
I was talking. He's in our sleeper show, basically. Yeah. He has 3 top 20s in his last 4. You can go check that out. But I wish he was in a different wave. We didn't have that information when the sleeper show came out. I still have 25%. 6-6 made cuts in majors, that kind of thing. I popped at the WGC Mexico course comp. So I got 25% there. I feel like that's enough without getting too crazy. A lot of upside. Cameron Davis is another guy that's going to be really popular. People are going to look at the distance. People are going to look at kind of all those stats that make this kind of course fit, and they're going to go there. But he's in the PM wave. I like him quite a bit. I wish I pumped the brakes a little bit, but I did. He's still in my 30% club. He's still one of my highest owned.
Yeah, and I mean, Cameron Davis is going to win a PGA golf tournament at some point. Like, I think it's clear he's one of these people. He has all the tools at different times. It just everything needs to line up and click. I'm not going to chase it every week, and this is one of the weeks where I felt like I had to be a little bit safer with my plays here because I've decided to take on, like, a lot of my lineups have maybe 4 guys in the 7Ks. I couldn't roll with all of them being volatile.
Yeah, I agree. Should we talk about some?
Yeah, do you just want to rattle through who yours are?
Yeah, Craig, and I got a 30% down here.
Is it Justin Suh?
It's Mr. 50, Phil Mickelson.
Oh, Phil Mickelson, 69.
6,900. His course history here is outrageous. His miscut, he bogeyed 2 of the last 3 holes at Valspar. If you look at kind of his last
stats 12, were those years compared to this year?
he can do bombs. He's 6,900. All he needs to do is make a cut. That's all he needs to do.
Which
and I think he can make a cut here.
Week.
And he should have last week. And if you look at his last, I think it's like 12 or 15 rounds on Data Golf. You look at the individual rounds, he's been positive in like his 80%.
What did you say, 30%?
Yeah, I have 30% of him. He's in the good wave. He has great course history. He's played, like I said, his last 12 rounds, like 80 or 15 rounds, 80% of them have been positive strokes in total. He isn't playing as bad as people think. He can drop bombs. You can throw those bombs out there in the fairways. I mean, or you can hit bombs. That's what I'm trying to say. I got some Phil. I got a lot of Phil.
The biggest problem I have with Phil is that he has no grind left in him. So like either he is going to play very well and make the cut and, you know, have a chance to be in the top 30 and you'll get his attention the whole week, or like if he has 2 over or 3 over on his first 9, like he's already trying to book the time for his private jet to take off. You know, like that's one of the things I worry about is that
yeah, the other thing too is, okay, I don't know Phil that well, but I feel like he's a little bit of a gambling man. Him and David are throwing shots already on Twitter. And I feel like that will, like, he's one of those guys, like, you see on the pickup basketball court, you're like, okay, this guy has nothing, but he actually was like a superstar back in his day. And he like, oh, all I need is a little bit of motivation. I'll throw my weight around and I'll drop 20 on this guy.
Yeah, but so you know, I usually find the motivation narrative to be ridiculous because I think that these guys are always properly motivated. But with a guy like Phil, it actually, I think that it may hold more water than with others because, yeah, the guy doesn't need to be doing this to pay his bills. He has no need to be competing in the Wells Fargo Championship this year. Essentially, he's doing it for legacy. He's doing it for the pride of all of it and everything. So no, I don't mind the Phil play. I'm not there myself. I actually had 2 guys at 69 that I crossed off as I was making my lineups. Doc Redman.
I got Doc.
Okay.
I do got
so
Doc.
I felt like we're seeing flashes. I just felt like it was a little bit early still. But I totally get the play. And then Michael Thompson, I actually think I think there's some he's made a few cuts. I just couldn't quite get there. But I actually think Michael Thompson's a fairly decent play this week.
Robert Hauser talking about Phil Mickelson. He doesn't hit the fairway much at all. He's going to spray drivers for sure. But looking at course history, that seems to be okay.
Sorry, Phil?
Despite kind of the court. Yeah. It seems like you can still get by missing fairways.
Yeah, more than at some other courses. Like you can't just spray.
Yeah.
Matt Zeman's asking Champions Tour soon for Phil. I think he's going to continue to make starts there, and you know, as long as he thinks he still has a legitimate shot to win on the PGA Tour, I think we'll see him make starts on both.
It also just might be like where he wants to play.
Yeah, for sure. So
like
I think that there's a couple things that are intention in Phil. Phil loves to be in the spotlight, and then I also think Phil loves to be the big man on campus. So like when he goes up to the Champions Tour, the spotlight's a little less, but he's the big head honcho, and he can go out there and hit bombs and drive par fours and do silly stuff. But the spotlight's a little bit decreased. But then when you're winning on the Champions Tour, the spotlight's still nice and big. So I would not be surprised if Phil's one of these guys that we see in a booth. I think he's got a natural talent for it.
He's the Romo.
I think that this is where him liking to be in the spotlight, there's few better ways to do that than to be the person talking the entire broadcast. And so I could definitely see Phil going that route. Johnny Miller.
Okay, Craig, we are going later here. How many plays
I
do you
have 4 6K plays.
Who are they?
So I've got Adam Schenk.
Okay.
He was our cut maker last year for a while.
Last fall, for sure.
And then he was not a cut maker there for a while. I think he's maybe coming back into cut maker form, so I've decided to jump on that one. And then I have a Tom Lewis. Some Tom Lewis ownerships. So I do have 20% on Schenk, but I only have 10% on Lewis. Again, he's made a few cuts in a row here. It stands out a bit to me.
And I think he played well at Zurich.
Yes, I think he did. I forget who he was playing with there, but maybe was he with Matt Wallace?
I don't know.
No, it was McDowell and Wallace. Vincent Whaley is a guy who jumped out at me. He's 6,400.
He's made a bunch of cuts.
He's made a bunch of cuts. He's good with the driver and good with the putter, which is what you need to do here. So he's just a hope and a prayer to made cut. I've just got 10% on him, and then I've got Justin Suh at 6,100, and I have 20% on him.
Yeah, I like that. Tom Lewis was with Thomas Peters, I believe. I wish Thomas Peters, man, I can't.
I don't know
I wish
why
Thomas
he
Peters was
doesn't
here.
get starts here.
I don't know. I don't know. So my plays after Doc Redman, I'm a little bit different from you. I got Lucas Herbert, Monday qualified.
Oh yeah,
But
68. I want to say.
did,
I had a
he's
long
at
look at him.
68.
Yeah.
Did he make the? Yeah. So we got him in here. I mean, you can see his World Golf ranking. He's a Europe guy. So better to look at stats there than necessarily here.
There's two guys that I always get confused.
No,
Herbert and
he's
Herbert.
Aussie.
Yeah, so
Sorry,
there's the Aussie one and there's the French one, and I get them confused.
Hey, Benjamin Herbert, I think.
Yeah.
I got Christopher Ventura at 6,200, actually at 20%.
At 62, he's way down here. Do you remember? I think he's actually min priced on FanDuel.
So Ventura, yeah, I got there. I think kind of the off the tee putting, two stats him look like he kind of ticks those boxes. Played well with Hovland at the Zurich. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think he's a bit of a long shot, but I mean that's what 6,200 gets you. Will Gordon, someone I think you could consider. I think he may end up getting a touch of ownership. He's long off the tee. I think everyone knows. People are asking here.
And sorry, I got some Justin Sutter. 15%.
Okay, yeah. Which is just a bonkers price to me. I mean, I'd roster him at 66, 67, 68.
So the interesting thing, I can't believe this. You got no Patia. I guess we talked about
that.
Yeah,
no, I'll roll Patia out in showdowns. I just feel like I've been playing him a lot, and he kind of has had one round a tournament that's causing him to miss cuts or just not play that well. So I think I'm gonna assume he's at the point of his. First off, it is a bit of a hometown game for him, so I'm totally fine putting him in. I am going to roll him. I think he's going to get flashes, and I think we're going to see rounds from him before we see him put together a whole lot of full tournaments. I think we've already seen flashes in rounds. James Hahn is being brought up. I don't mind the James Hahn play. I got burned by him last week, so I pumped the brakes there. I forget what he did last week, how it all went down, but
I got burned from him as well, but he does.
He has one here. He kind of came out of nowhere to win that one. Since then he went 59 miscut. So like I totally get it if you want to get there, but I'm just not there this week.
Yeah. Seamus Power, another Monday qualifier, good win player, I think. Got that low apex, good coastal player, but
that's the first time you brought up apex today.
I know.
I was actually thinking, do you give Neiman a bit of a downwards bump if it's super soft out there? Because he's probably one of the lowest apex players, and he gets a lot of roll on that drive.
You know what? So beyond Thursday, Friday, let me pull up the forecast again here. We're looking at steady wins Saturday, Sunday. Like Sunday looks great. Saturday, Sunday both look crazy. It's going to be a windy tournament. It's going to be a high-scoring tournament, I think. If the course has teeth and the wind stays like this, you're going to need wind players on the weekend. We're probably going to talk about that way too much on Showdown. Find some leverage that way, but I'm not necessarily going high apex guys at all.
Yeah. I'm not there on Bram. I think do you have his Corn Ferry stuff, or can you pull him up on something else there, Adam?
Yeah.
I'm not there myself. He gains off the tee, but there's too many other things for me. But he is a guy who can make cuts and pop. But I'm curious to know. I feel like he was a second or something of recent on the Corn Ferry. No.
No, that was Lovemark, who was a late cut for me. He did play Corn Ferry in week 8, missed the cut. So pretty much the stats that we have from PGA is the stats that he has.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm not getting there myself, but I understand. I mean, he gains off the tee, so I could understand why people are looking at that. Someone had asked earlier, someone or Hagee, and I can't find the comment here.
Hagee, I think, is in that ideal tee time as well with I'd have to look it up. But I don't have Hagee.
Vaughn Taylor. I'm not going to get there on Vaughn Taylor. He had a good week last week. I think he'll get his price will bump up on that. I don't even know what it is, to be honest, but
Tom M. a
68.
while ago did say Benny and 66. Hey, yeah.
Benny Ann
sure.
or Hagee, or he was just...
No, he just said Benny Ann at the price, and his price didn't go up. It's risky, but I played him last week for the same reasons.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this comment on Hagee. If you're still here, whoever that was, and you still want us to chat about it, I can't find it here, so let me know. Matt Jones, strong win player. Totally agree. I think Matt Jones is the best play of the week outside of Jon Rahm.
No. Really?
I like the Matt Jones play.
Who's your highest owned besides Jon Rahm?
Matt Jones, 30%.
Interesting.
I think he's that
You're very high
perfect combination of cut maker and price. Yeah, no, respect. Okay, Greg, I think we're nearing the end of our show. Cage Lee, sorry, real quick, Cage Lee, I almost got there. I actually had a really hard time cutting my pool this week. He's starting to, he's not making all his cuts, but he's starting to get a little bit of a trend of making some cuts here. So I think Cage really, he's doing it without putting too. So I think he's a fine play.
Yeah. Are we calling it?
At that time?
I think that's it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. That's great, as always. We're going to have our showdown shows. They're probably going to be pre-recorded, but follow us on Twitter or on Discord to know when the show is out or when the show is coming out. If we're going live, we'll let you know as soon as we know what we're going to do.
Well, no, I think we're going to not go live. And then what we're going to do, we'll go live for the PGA. I think it's hard. Yeah. Going live at the same time, right at dinner time for me every day, and try to sell this to my wife.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the case, and we can sell it every once in a while for majors.
Thank you. I can't say this enough and with enough sincerity. Thank you all for the support. It really does mean a lot. Craig and I were kind of talking about our early journey here, and it really does mean a lot to have you guys support us.
We definitely appreciate
and join us
it.
All the time.
We appreciate the chat. Yeah. Good luck this week. Let's go, Jon Rahm.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Rahm and Bryson. That's it. Okay.
All right.
See you, everybody.
Yeah, take care, guys.